So are your reels doing well, but you can't get views on TikTok or vice versa? This is actually a really common problem, and it comes down to a few key differences in the two platforms. And once you spot these differences, creating content that works for both becomes way easier. So we're gonna walk through that today. So although both of these are short form content platforms, what works on one often won't work on the other. And that's why you see crazy discrepancy in views across people's profiles on both platforms. And really, what works on both could not be more different. So let's start off with Instagram. So even with Reels, what works on Instagram is still the same principles. How it looks and how it's packaged, all those things very much matter on Instagram because of how people consume. People come over to Instagram for quick dopamine hits and pretty things. That was true with photos and static images, and it is still absolutely true with Reels. If you go through and study viral Reels, you're gonna see these same few common elements that I'm gonna outline that you should be thinking about whenever you're creating content specifically for Reels. The first thing you want to make sure to consider when creating Reels content is that your content should be as pretty and aesthetic as you can possibly make it. Things looking high quality really matters. You want to make sure to capture your video in the highest quality possible and do everything in your power to make it look as crisp as you can with the tools that you have. Most Reels that go viral, apart from maybe comedy, are usually very high quality footage, but you can still achieve this on your phone. Just make sure you're using the right settings. First, remember, make it as pretty and aesthetic as you possibly can. The second Reels focus term I want you to think about is polished. So on top of your high quality footage, that's the foundation of your content. What makes it polished is all of the extra things that really bring that video or that concept to life. You want to make it as easy and as mindless as possible to consume for the people that are seeing this. You almost want to get them lost in the consumption and ideally get them to watch it again and again, because the biggest metric when it comes to Instagram Reels getting pushed is watch time that you can get on those videos. So make sure to play up the polished nature of your content and make it as seamless as possible for people to want to watch. And that comes down to using all the tools that you have at your disposal. So using the right sounds on your content, using the right imagery as well as text, just to make it really look easy on the eyes. It should look put together. And if you just study a few Reels that have really popped off, you're gonna see this again and again. The third term when creating Reels content that will really help your content travel a lot farther is punchy. And this applies to the pacing of the video. So the video should flow very seamlessly and it should be high paced, meaning there's constantly something new on the screen, keeping people engaged. And you also want to make sure to have a very punchy initial shot or first image. If you can't capture them with a great visual right in the beginning, you're going to lose people and you're not going to get the watch time necessary to get that reel pushed. So really make sure you start off with a powerful visual, whether it be photo or video, and make the pacing of the cuts or the content as smooth as possible, and ideally as fast paced as possible or in tune with the music. These things can really go a long way in keeping people watching, but you want to make sure it's punchy. And you know when you've seen a punchy video because it captures your attention right away. It flows very smoothly. And by the end of it, you catch yourself watching it again without even really realizing it. That is the same effect that you're looking to achieve with your videos. So for Reels, to make viral Reels consistently, you want to make sure they're pretty and aesthetic, and you want to make sure the content is punchy straight from the beginning and smooth throughout. So those are the key features for consistently viral Reels. And if you go study things that are working on Reels, you're going to see those things again and again and again. So you want to be thinking about that when you're creating content specifically for IG. So now let's move over to TikTok. In contrast, what works on TikTok is almost the complete difference to what I just mentioned over on Reels. The accounts that consistently go viral over on TikTok get these few things right, and they're always thinking about this when creating content. The first word I want you to think about for TikTok is raw. Video quality and production quality matters so much less over on TikTok. You can see a video that it looks like it was shot on a potato and can have millions and millions of views. People just don't care that much about the quality of the actual video itself over on TikTok. So understanding that, don't put that much effort and stress into the high production quality over on TikTok, or maybe less so, because it's just not necessary. And you can even experiment for yourself, and I recommend doing this. Try some stuff that's higher production on TikTok, and then also try some stuff that's a little more raw off the cuff and just with the phone in your hand. And I'm confident you're gonna see that the latter will perform better because people are just more familiar with that on that platform and they resonate with it more. The second is depth. People want you to go below the surface. Instagram is very much a surface level platform when it comes to Reels, especially. It's pretty things, pretty visuals, and fast paced throughout, whereas TikTok, someone will actually listen to a story if you have one to tell. And I strongly recommend that you do, because those that go below the surface can create really strong communities, and that kind of content can really go viral. People are on TikTok to be very, very nosy. So if you give them the opportunity to share some of your stories about your business, your life, whatever, people are going to listen and they're going to resonate with it a lot more. Whereas if you try to tell a long form story over on Instagram Reels, it just wouldn't perform the same way that it would on TikTok. And the third TikTok specific term that you should always be thinking about is organic. How many videos have you seen on TikTok that have popped off that look like they're not even planned? I'm sure that they were planned and I'm sure they were thought out beforehand, but so many videos that pop off look like they're just off the cuff. Someone just sat down or even walking to the coffee shop or whatever it may be, and they're just talking as if they were on a FaceTime with their friend. That kind of content does so well on TikTok specifically. And that's really the whole feel and the vibe with TikTok is people really feel like they're hanging out with their friends. And so you want to create content understanding that. So many business owners and creators really feel like it has to be super polished and super scripted, but then there's people over on TikTok that whether they're actually planning their videos or not, it doesn't feel like they are. And that's why people love them. So I strongly recommend being a little more spontaneous and organic and experimenting with that specifically over on TikTok. So those are the 3 keywords that will absolutely help you get more traction over on TikTok. Raw, depth, and organic. Those are the 3 pillars to TikTok success. So those are the differences between TikTok and Instagram. And I can already hear you. I don't want to create content for both platforms, or I want to make this as seamless as possible. I have tips for you there too. You absolutely can cross-post your content to both platforms, but I'm confident you're going to see a huge difference in the level of performance depending on the kind of content and the elements that I just mentioned. So if you're not getting the results that you want, what I recommend doing is remixing the concepts or the things that you're talking about specific to each platform. So that can be done in 2 ways. The first is either cut down the TikTok clip that may have been a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less polished, and throw on some more polishing and cut it down to be faster paced to post over on Instagram. And if that's not possible and just wouldn't work, wouldn't transfer over, I recommend just refilming the concept that you've already planned out and already run through specific to the platform that you're trying to post it on. So if you did it on TikTok first, do it in a more polished and fast paced format for Instagram, and vice versa. It doesn't have to take you that much more time, and I'm confident you're going to see a lot more results from doing that. You're told so many times that you need to post 1,000 times a day, and that's really not what's going to bring you results. Quality matters way more than quantity, but what quality looks like on these 2 different platforms is so different. So that's why these little bits of effort and thinking specific to platform is going to give you way better results. That's my recommendation if you're not getting the results that you want. And also, I don't want you to get discouraged about Instagram thinking you can't go in depth, because you absolutely can in other places across the app. But too many people are trying to force Reels to be what TikTok is, when you can achieve that far more effectively with things like lives, stories, longer form videos, and the other features that Instagram gives to you to connect with your audience. Use Reels for what it's good at. It is a great top of funnel tool to bring new people to your page. Maseri, the head of Instagram, literally just said in his latest address to the community that Reels is still the best place to post content to get new people to see it. It's mostly going to be new people. So use it as a tool it's intended to be, and then use the other features to go more in depth and serve your community and your core people. And a great way to stay consistent across both platforms is to use a scheduler that allows you to schedule content to TikTok and Instagram from one place. And we here at Flick have our own scheduler that allows you to post to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well as LinkedIn. And if you're not using a scheduler currently, I strongly recommend it. It can be a game changer for remaining consistent. And you can try ours out completely for free, as well as all of our other tools, using the link in the description box down below. Give it a go. Once you've tried it, come back here. Let me know how you like it. The next time you go to create content for TikTok or for Reels, remember the key elements that can bring you success on each. And if your focus is Instagram, this video right here will help you navigate their algorithms and get them to work for you. And if you're focusing more on TikTok, this video features some of the greatest brands that are absolutely crushing it with the TikTok platform. So if you want to learn more about IG, check this out. If you want to learn more about TikTok, watch this right here. Pick which one makes sense. I'll see you over there.